Good morning. This is Momo in the morning. Got a little bit of information to give you that's kind of getting on my nerves. I look at these numbers of the amount of people that are dying from the virus, and it's real clear. It's not a deadly disease, but it is highly contagious. So everyone's got to, make sure that they wear a mask and they wash their hands a lot and they keep their fingers out of their nose and their eyes and their mouth. It's common sense. It's contagious, so let's fight it off by doing what the president said with the guidelines. That makes sense. But now it's time to open the country back up. And a couple things are bothering me. Just think about this. The government's giving you $1,200. That's great. We got $1,200, but we haven't been able to work for how many weeks? Yet you still got to pay your bills. So your electric bill comes, your gas bill, your phone bill, your mortgage. Oh, where do you get the money from? So now you're behind. Now, an interesting thing is with the mortgage. So they tell you you don't have to pay your mortgage for 3 months. You're fine. But at the fourth month, you got to pay the 3 months plus the other month. So it's 4 months you got to pay and you didn't work. Where are you going to get the money? Why didn't the government just say, hey, put it at the back end? So if you have a loan and you have 30 years, you make it 30 years in 3 months. And you don't pay for just 3 months. That would have made more sense. But nah, sometimes big government doesn't get it. And I know what's going on. The Democrats want to make us all suffer. They don't even want to give us that extra money for our businesses. They'd rather see the economy go down because their only reason in existence is to get rid of the president who's doing a good job. This whole thing is crazy. Rahm Emanuel said, you can't let a crisis go to waste. And sure enough, they're trying like hell to not make this go to waste. They're making this thing drag on and on and on. I live in Illinois, and our goofy governor, he wants to pass a progressive income tax where you keep going up, and that any time that the state legislator wants to raise the amount of money you pay, they can do it. In order to have this happen, the Constitution has to be amended. So it has to go to referendum. Anybody that votes for that is a stone-cold nutcase. You're telling the government, who when somebody knocks on the door says, hey, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. You don't even want to open the door. You know what's going to happen. They're going to raise that all the time. Every year it's going to go up. You're going to be paying through the nose. So you got to make sure you don't pay for like that. Vote no to the progressive income tax. And ask yourself these questions. If there's not that many people compared to the population, why was everything shut down? And how come the death rate, which I don't want anybody to die, don't get me wrong. Dying is a bad deal. It stinks. But when you look at the number of people that die from this, it's not as bad as the regular flu. At least that's what the stats that I'm seeing. And I'm sure there's lots of stats, and they're all what you're looking at, I suppose. But we gotta wake up. We can't just keep going on like this. If our businesses don't open up, these small businesses are drowning. How are they going to pay their bills? They ain't. So they ain't going to go, they're going to go bankrupt. They're not going to open up. So now, when all these things end, when we're finally supposedly normal, instead of the 22 million people that are out of work are going to go out and find a job right away because they're going back to their old companies. That's what the plan is. Well, it ain't going to happen because a lot of these small companies can't go back. They're done. And the longer this goes on, the longer the problem exists, and it's going to get worse. The federal government, some person there, I don't know who, wants to bring foreigners in to get jobs. Well, we have 22 million people out of work. And out of those 22 million, how many aren't going to get jobs after this is over with? And you're going to bring in foreigners? I have nothing against legal immigration, and that's what this would be. But what the hell? Take care of our own people first. This is absolutely stupid when I hear all this stuff, and it just aggravates the hell out of me. In Lansing, the people rose up and they went there and they protested. Well, every state should be protesting because these are guidelines. They are not laws passed by the legislators. They're guidelines. They're not laws. And they can't make it a law because that law would be violating the U.S. Constitution that guarantees us the right of free assembly and the right of free speech. And on and on and on. They want to take our constitutional rights away from us. And it isn't Donald Trump. It's your local guy. It's the governor of Michigan, the governor wherever you live, the local sheriff, the local mayor. Those are the people that are enforcing these guidelines that are really not enforceable because according to the Constitution, we have the right to assembly. Nobody can say that I can't have 20 people come to my house for coffee. And I don't want to do that because I want to go along with the guidelines. I think that's a smart idea. But at the same time, if somebody wants to violate them, they shouldn't be arrested. If a guy wants to sit on a park bench by himself, he shouldn't be arrested. If a guy wants to play catch with his daughter and they're the only people in the park, he ain't breaking the guidelines. It's two people. And they got to tell him to get lost and they're going to take him to jail. What the heck's going on? You got a bunch of people that want to go to a religious service and they're in a car and the car is 6 feet from each other. So they don't want you to go to a religious service because they don't like God, but at the same time you can go to a local liquor store and walk down the aisles in the grocery stores and you could in the gas stations and you can go to wherever they got the slot machines and play the slot machines. That's all okay. But you can't go to a church parking lot and sit in your car and listen to a service? I mean, this is the kind of junk that's going on that's stupid. So we all got to wake up and be real vigilant and pay attention to what's going on. Because if there's a local protest, we all need to go to a local protest and stand up for our rights. We can't have the government, especially our local governments, telling us that they're going to break the Constitution by enforcing guidelines instead of laws. Let's wake up and smell the broth. God bless America.